Today is going to be a good episode of the Coffee with Cannell show because we actually have a powerful question we're going to start off with. And that is actually, how do I get over writer's block, but for video, for filming, and for YouTube? And so I want to give you some powerful tips right up front. We also have Caleb, one of our Think Media coaches, that's going to be joining me today for two coaching sessions with a barbecue channel and a ministry channel. And so I encourage you, if you're new here, thanks so much for stopping by. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel. And this session is all about YouTube, helping you get more views, helping you set clear goals, helping you find a clear path to monetization, and really figuring out what's working now on YouTube. But let's kick it off with this question of how do I get over writer's block for filming? And I think there is some powerful ways to do that in today's world. And one of the first one that comes to mind for me is AI. And, you know, a lot of people talking about Chat GPT, a lot of people, you know, that they kind of took the market share, but people are underrating Gemini. So this is Google changed from Bard to Gemini. And so if I feel like, man, what do I film? What videos should I make? I think one of the best places to start is with a free tool like this. And let me know what one of your channels or your niches are here. And let's just assume you have a writer's block with your channel. Man, what video do I make next? What kind of content should I make next? I'll give you two other tools in just a second, but let me know what niches are here, and we're going to use this tool called Gemini. You could also use Chat GPT. You could also use vidiq.com as well, using their AI coach on Boost. That's going to cost money. I highly recommend it. There's lots of different ways you could do it. So, I would agree with this. Gemini has some major issues. Sure, but what we're using it for in this case is we're not going to run into those issues. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, so you have a gardening channel. So like, what are 25 video ideas for a gardening channel? Okay, pretty simple. And this isn't, like you said, you can't really mess up data or whatever. This is just giving us ideas. What are we solving for? We have writer's block. We have video ideas block. And next thing you know, we got 25 ideas written for us. Gardening for beginners, essential gardening tools, planting from seed versus seedlings, raised bed gardening, container gardening, the ultimate guide to watering. Pretty sick, right? And what you can do here is you could take a tool like this and you could say, I'm going to make a video about essential gardening tools. Now, if you've been a part of ERA for any length of time, or rather, if maybe you're not a part of ERA, this is our Coffee with Cannell show, but that's our YouTube course. It's called Video Ranking Academy. One of my favorite strategies is called review specific products, because it's a good way to make money with affiliate marketing in a way that serves people and creates a win-win-win-win-win. So if you're helping people with essential gardening tools, it's a good video to link to stuff as an affiliate. So then watch this. Write 10 creative title ideas for a video about essential gardening tools under 60 characters. You have up to 100 characters in a title. I'm going to go under 60 to make it a little more lean and see what we come up with. And again, I'll tell you in just a second the two other tools. Oh, that's cool. It tells you the characters. Garden gear must-haves, tools to tame your plot, dig in. Sometimes these AI tools get a little too creative. You're like, all right, it's kind of cheesy, but from seedling to supper. What does that even mean? Gardening hacks. I like that one. So then you're like, gardening hacks, 5 cool tools you need for the summer season. Boom. So let me know for the gardening channel that's here live, Farmer Marshall, if that was you, does this inspire you at all? Like, could you make a video called 5 cool tools you need for the summer season? 5 new tools, and maybe this gives you a chance. You're already into it. Like we go over to Amazon, we could look at the tools. Let's see, gardening tools. This gets me exciting because if you love gardening, and we could look at these different kits. Wow, look at this. You're gonna need a good thing, good pruning shears, and then you're like, hey, everything I'm talking about is either, it could be Amazon, it could be, of course, other websites as well. There's thousands of affiliate programs. It's not just Amazon. But I'm glad that you're feeling inspired by all of this. And in summary, what we did was we just used an AI tool like Gemini, which is the free tool from Google, to come up with ideas. We took one of the ideas and turned it into an actual, then we said, give us some title ideas. And then I massaged it finally to make it kind of a complete thought. And that is one way to do it. Let me give you two more tools when you've got video ideas block. One is called answerthepublic.com. It's called answerthepublic.com. So if you go here, you could type in gardening, United States English search. And what's going to happen here is it's going to give you the actual search volume of how many people are in gardening. This is based on Google. Gives you this cool wheel showing you, can gardening save money? Are garden zones changing? Now, you might be like, I don't want to make any of those. How gardening helps mental health. But then maybe you hone in an idea. And one of my favorite ways to do it is I go lists. So there's the wheel, but lists is a little bit easier to read. And so gardening versus farming, gardening versus landscaping. And you go down this list. Again, all these ideas. So when you have video ideas block, you can go here. And then the final one is also asked.com. And it's kind of similar. You go gardening and you just type your niche in these sites, your topic. And I like how this kind of a mind map. So gardening, what is the best definition of gardening? How to get started as a gardener. Okay, great. Let's click that one. And it'll take you a layer deeper. And you could keep going deeper on, this is what people are searching around the world. It's what people actually want to see. One of the biggest mistakes people make is making YouTube videos nobody's asking for. One of the biggest mistakes people make is making YouTube videos that people aren't interested in. And one of the biggest mistakes creators make is not verifying interest before they plan and record a video. So what we're doing here is we're verifying interest. And this would, did I say how to get started as a gardener? And we're kind of going deep into the profession of gardening. So I'm wondering, is gardening good exercise? How to learn to garden? It's pretty good. What should I do first in my garden? That inspires me. I don't know if it's one of those like beginners. You maybe would have never have thought to create that. Where do I start my garden? How do I start taking care of my garden? How do I start a garden from scratch? UK. Take your local region and look at this. How do I make my garden look good with no money? Man, what a strong topic. But then you get to start spinning out on that. So if you find that valuable, smash the like button. We covered a lot there. And I think that's a really great way to when you're feeling stuck, there are so many tools that could get you inspired, get the brain juices going, but also notice that some of the things that we did there was, I don't think AI is enough. It's a starter. It's when you're tired and you're stressed and your brain's not really working. It just gets you going. But you still need to learn the skills to finish out the title. Of course, you need to learn the skills of then making a good video that supports that. And so AI is a good starter to overcome writer's block, but you still need to develop the skills of YouTube. And actually, a good way to do that, if you haven't heard, in today's episode of the Coffee with Cannell show is brought to you by Grow with Video Live. Grow with Video Live tickets are on sale at growwithvideolive.com. And this year we've got Pat Flynn, Chalene Johnson, Dave Ramsey, so many other great speakers. We have a dedicated AI session talking about some of the latest ways to use AI. We've got some incredible panels on with success students in our world, talking about how they're making money right now, talking about what's working on YouTube right now. And so I encourage you, if you haven't checked out the website, go to growwithvideolive.com, grab a ticket. We will sell out. It is limited. It's in-person event that's happening in Vegas. And we do have limited capacity. It's like max 800 in the room. It's more like 700, I think. So we're just working with Fire Code and figuring all that out. But so growwithvideolive.com. And I do want to welcome you to the Coffee with Cannell show today. My name is Sean Cannell. This show is all about helping you win on YouTube, and I'm excited to get into it. Welcome back to the Coffee with Cannell show. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel. Today, I am joined by my co-host, Caleb. And Caleb is one of our Think Media certified coaches. Him and his wife have started a woodworking business and a jewelry business, and they've promoted it through their social media pages. They've reached millions of people through online video. Caleb's YouTube channel is in Spanish, and he's dedicated to offering guidance and support for marriages and families on his channel. And he's been a part of the Think Media team for years, and now is one of our Think Media certified coaches and a part of VRA and VRA Elite. Caleb, how you doing today?
I am doing so well and so pumped to be here with you and our elite students.
Dude, I'm so fired up. And yes, we're going to get straight into our first guest today, David from the Barbecue Lab. And David, welcome to the show.
Man, it's great to be here, guys. Love Caleb, love Sean. Excited to be a part of this.
Dude, I love seeing the gear behind you. Like, what a showcase. We got shotgun mics, lights, dome soft boxes, sandbags, sound paneling.
Yeah.
David, tell us about when you started your YouTube channel and what you're up to on YouTube.
So we started our YouTube channel probably early 2019. And the whole entire idea behind it was I bought some outdoor cooking gear that I wasn't really satisfied with. I felt like it was kind of a bait and switch. I bought it thinking that, oh, this is really what I want. But I got back to the point where I went, this is definitely not what I want. And I feel like I kind of got sold up the river there. So I wanted to go out and actually put out some honest reviews on outdoor cooking gear and outdoor living gear and just help people when they make a purchase to buy something that's really going to work for them. So I love that you're showing like the old stuff there on the channel, the stuff that's like the first videos ever. And man, we have sure grown from there. But the idea behind the channel was to be able to help people as they're making their purchases online for their barbecue gear and their outdoor living gear. But then really it's kind of just morphed into this idea that we now are both full-time, both my wife and I are full-time on our YouTube channel. And I didn't think that was even a possibility 4 years ago. So we love what we're doing. We're excited to be able to help people, especially as we navigate this next season of what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I'm excited. And I know we have a question of kind of like pivoting or business model and kind of talking about that. But I got a question for you. Why, since day one, is there any hidden videos or unlisted videos, or are these just all been your uploads?
Those have all been our uploads. I haven't taken anything off.
From day one, 4 years ago, 12,000 views, 12,000 views, 14,000, 312,000. You came out swinging 0 to 100 real quick. Your channel's very professional. You know, in our VRA Q&A, we were just talking about like one of the things our community needs to hear is the professionalization. It's time to professionalize your YouTube channel because some people, their design, their thumbnails, all their whole thing, even their branding, it just has sort of this DIY low effort feel to it. It feels like from day one, you came out of the gate with an excellence to your content. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yeah, I mean, that was really what we were striving for. We wanted to be the #1 review channel for outdoor cooking gear and outdoor living gear. And the whole idea was, what can we do to make that a reality? And so as we've grown over the years, we've tried to be more professional with it, but we tried to start with everything that we knew, implementing that at the base level.
I got you. So it was a mindset. Any other tips for those watching? Because I just feel like, again, you're living the dream, and now you're going to get your silver play button soon. Congrats.
Thank you.
And but why else do you think you've experienced so much success in the last 4 years?
I think part of it comes down to trying to really get down to what it is that the viewer wants to see. I mean, so if you look at the first, 5, 10 videos that we did, the way that I financed that, we didn't have a big budget. It was just kind of like, what do we have in our, backyard cooking budget? And I'd have $500. So it was, what can I go buy on Facebook Marketplace or buy used, and then review that thing and then sell it back on Facebook Marketplace for the same price that I paid for it. And then we're at a net nothing to be able to create that video other than time invested. And so the first 10 videos was just a rinse and repeat of that model. What can we get our hands on that we can, review and then put back out there and use that money to reinvest?
You literally just dropped a bomb that on the Coffee with Cannell show, because I love, of course, this idea of how you can review products. Affiliate marketing taps into that, but people go, but how can I buy this stuff? Facebook Marketplace, buy it at a discount, make the video, and then put it back on Facebook Marketplace. It's a cycle. But also, that's not a theory for you. That's exactly what you did. So what was some of the early stuff that you bought on Facebook Marketplace?
I mean, it was pellet grills, it was offset smokers, it would be a charcoal grill here and there. But it was anything that we could get our hands on that someone happened to have within a drivable distance that I went, yeah, you know what? I actually looked at that as someone who's into backyard cooking. I bet it'd be interesting if we actually took that old in the box item that they never assembled. Let's assemble it on camera. Let's show them what it's all about. Maybe we'll shoot a follow-up if that does well, and we'll actually cook on it a few times. But all the while trying to think, how can I also, try to affiliate and monetize this? Now at the beginning, it wasn't all an option. We had some things that we did videos on that got really, really great views, but there wasn't any money behind it. But like you say in your training in VRA Elite, you got to chase influence and then the money will come. And it's true. It does.
So strong. And I want to encourage our viewers, one of the things we say here is it's not about your resources. It's about your resourcefulness. Oh, I want to do tech, but I don't have any money to buy tech. You just got the secret. Facebook Marketplace, get it, make the video, make 10 videos around it, flip that thing, and then continue to do it. While people could complain about a lack of resources, there are people like David that are being resourceful. So inspiring. Okay, David, tell us, what is your question today in relation to your channel?
So we have really been a channel that's created a database of searchable content where our goal is to rank content highly on both Google and on YouTube that can earn us an affiliate living. The challenge that we're running into is that you really challenged us through one of the videos in the VRA Elite training that talked about what is the business model behind your YouTube channel. And we realized pretty quick that our strategy was ranking content for affiliate opportunity that's going to help people in the backyard when it comes to cooking and entertaining. But we went, what is really the business model behind that we need to build out? So I was really intrigued by watching your journey over the last few years as you went from CES to reviewing different content at the show, getting your hands on new things, showing them, demoing them, as a large part of your strategy to kind of shifting over to that coaching and training and equipping where you really have this legacy plan now. So I'm really curious, as we're walking through that ourselves, I'd love to hear from you on how you navigated that, what kind of triggered in your mind that went, this is the time where we need to make this shift. And then how did you kind of, act on it?
I love this question, and I'm going to pass it to Caleb here in a bit as well with any thoughts on your channel as well that we'll do in kind of part 2 of the conversation. But yeah, I think for me, and the question for you and everybody watching is, what business do you want to be in? And your options are maybe unlimited, but if I was to go through a list, your options are course creator, education. Your options are creating media and doing advertisements, which would be YouTube ad revenue and brand deals. Your options could be getting into physical goods, direct to consumer, CPG, consumer packaged goods, barbecue spices, barbecue. And now we're living in a world where Mr. Beast, being the extreme example, built a lot of influence, and now his chocolate bar is a formidable force that's on Walmart end caps and selling out at Walmart. So when you start thinking, we're living in a world where the power has been handed over to the creator, And with 91,000 subscribers like you have and the excellence that you have a distinct advantage that could make partnering with and or hiring or developing a line of products. It's like if you don't have like books, cookbooks, what business do you want to be? Author of cookbooks, a series of cookbooks. One of the things that Mary's Nest in our world mentioned when she got her cookbook deal with Random House, a subsidiary of Random House, was that they said, yeah, the way we look for authors now is we scour YouTube, which goes back, same thing with like products. Like these days, it's all influence is everything. It's like if you have influence, then you could use that influence to send people to your Amazon product. And then it can grow bigger than that because now it ranks and it's a product that nobody even knows about your YouTube channel. But your YouTube influence, the email list you build, the subscribers you build, the fandom you build becomes the seed funding of launching a product. But it reverse engineers back to what business do you want to be in? You could go physical shop. You could go, you could open up a local barbecue restaurant, a barbecue. You could go Ghost Kitchen. You could go Mr. Beast Burger, right? You could go. Now, by asking those questions, the good questions to ask, because you might go, man, there's no way I'd want to open up a restaurant. I mean, as far as Yes Chef, you think about watching The Bear season 2, chances are you open a restaurant, margins are thin and you might go out of business. So it's going to be a very hard uphill battle. But if you have that conviction, you have that fire. So I think it's a self-awareness question. Where do I want to go next? For me, one, I don't feel like I chose video chose me in the sense of I was serving in my local church, youth pastor handed me the camera. I had the experience, but as I started studying business models, it was not by accident that I wanted to create VRA. I wanted to create digital products because it is my personal favorite business model. Low overhead, high profit, not a high cost to store the inventory. Like we have to host all of our videos, but using Kajabi, it's not expensive. Scalable. I also default back though. I'm a teacher by nature, and I enjoy that. I have that self-awareness. So I audited my own skill set of, could I pull this off? Could I do this at a world-class level? And I chose to go into digital products, online courses very intentionally by going through a list. I personally don't want to open up a restaurant, and I've thought long and hard, and I've actually probably spent maybe over 100 hours. I've sat in meetings with people that want to partner on a physical product. Do you want to do a light kit, Sean? Do you want to do camera accessories? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And for some, if I really want to do it, that makes sense. But what I realized was, I'm like, yeah, like I'm out here doing affiliates for something like this Neewer light kit, which I've talked about before. And what I realized, again, personally, was this was just not a Goliath I wanted to fight. I also, the only way to win if you were going to be small would be go to premium price. But if I was going to go the budget route, which is the route I like going, I love fighting for the best budget lighting, the best budget, a lot of videos like that. I can't compete with Neewer, who's going to do 100,000 units of this driving down. If I start up a small thing, I'm going to do 1,000 units, still risk my, front load the finances, get those on a boat. They come over in a shipping container. I got to store them somewhere here. I just really thought through the implications. But I do know for some, I think about my friend Pat Flynn, one of our Grow Video Live speakers. He did the Switch Pod, and him and Caleb, they partnered up on it and they loved it. They also had experienced some pain. It also was very successful. They were maybe able to have an exit. I think there's also what kind of respect and legacy do you want to build? I think there is something to be said for doing hard things. And I would argue it's a harder thing to get a product off the ground. I mean, SaaS is another business model. It might not be relevant for you. Apps is another one. And I also then have a very specific one for you that I think, in light of this question, that I'd maybe think about going forward, that could be a very powerful conversation. But in light of everything I've said, what's your feedback? What are your takeaways so far?
Yeah, as I listen to what you're saying, I mean, we've walked through quite a few of those. Like, are we interested in starting a restaurant? Not really. We have a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old, and I think about what it takes to get a restaurant off the ground and to run that. That's not something I want to do. We've looked into catering. We've looked into, being able to do on-site cooking. And really, I love doing on-site cooking, but I want to do it for nonprofit events. I want to do it for fundraisers. I want to do it for the causes that we care about. But I don't really want to get it to the point where it's like, hey, we're going to make $800 by spending the next 48 hours, cooking 15 briskets for someone's cookout. I don't have any problem doing that for a fundraiser, for a cause I care about, but I don't want to get into it where that's really what we want to do. If we go and we look at my skill set, the first 15 years of my career, I worked in churches as a worship leader and communications director. So that was the first 15 years of my career. And then we transitioned out of that into agency ownership, where we designed websites for small businesses. The barbecue lab kind of came out of that because we had some clients who kind of said, I don't think you know how to rank things on Google. And I don't think you understand how to put a video up that can rank. And so we thought, let's start a side project and just do it for fun in something that we're passionate about. I've been super passionate about getting people together in the backyard. Love outdoor cooking. So that's why we started this whole project. And really, if you go through and assess my skill set, you'll hear from my wife and people I've worked with in the past, I'm by nature a teacher. And since I understand that by nature I'm a teacher and I love getting people together, I think that's what's next for us. It's the idea of equipping people with the skills to assemble their own like backyard tribe, to end isolation, this idea of looking down at your phone, getting away from that, gathering around food and fire, and equipping people to be able to do that in their own community. So the question really comes down to is, do I have the guts to really, implement that? And then what's the next right thing in trying to make that shift from affiliate content almost only to moving towards that legacy model?
Yeah. So a couple thoughts for you going forward, and I appreciate you sharing all that, would be, one, you're a teacher. If we were to go, okay, do you move into courses? You have a critical step that you and everybody watching this needs to think about. And that is, you need to do market research. One of my favorite ways to do it, it's not my favorite place to host a course, but one of my favorite ways to do it is on Udemy. So I went to Udemy, I typed in barbecue, and let's go see if there's a course, and let's go see, this is new, but 0 students is not a good sign. Now this came out February, so this is like days old. But this got to give you an overview. Okay, it's 3 hours, 5 articles, and learn to cook food, different types of barbecue. Let me say this, though. Let's take a step back. Online courses is not the best business model for every niche. Let me be more clear. I think that in some cases, online courses are doomed to fail in some niches. Like what people do, the mistake they make is sometimes they try to force, like, online courses are this huge opportunity. The e-learning industry is going to be like $1 billion a day by 2027. It's all blowing up. Totally true. However, somebody might be like, I kind of have an entertainment prank channel. Like, how do I sell an online course? Well, unless you sell an online course about how to be a successful prank creator, that might work. But if it's like, there's no natural necessarily bridge there. And the biggest, well, Sean, how do I test it? The biggest way to test it is to actually go see if you could find somebody, like, let's see here, like beginner barbecue course. And is there here online grilling classes? So go Google it. Go like search your competitors, buy their course. That would be market research. I mean, think about watching the Bears season 2, they're trying to get inspired. They start going to other fancy restaurants. They're like, man, we need to get some inspiration. They start buying food. They start eating some food. Go eat at your competitors' restaurants, and then start thinking about what you could do there. So, okay, we got Aaron Franklin's Texas Style Masterclass being the big branding, the big branded, whatever. Okay, that's one. I wonder if we have more of a consumer level, Wicked Health. So these are all like A-list, A&E type people. Skillshare. So, and some of the masterclass is like a whole subscription. This is interesting. I think figuring out if you're going to plan out an online course, are you going to use it to help somebody make money? Are you going to use it to help them build a business? If you're just going to teach them how to cook, I don't know if it's a very good course, because there's enough free content online and how to be a good barbecue, you know? So you really want to do your due diligence to verify market interest, verify some of that stuff. And it's not a clear yes for me. I think clear yeses for me in like best online course topics, a lot of times teach like a specific skill. Video Regular Academy is done very well. YouTube is a complex skill and it's a specific skill and there's a large desire for it. And a video course necessitates viewing, sharing screen, etc., whatever. So it passed a lot of tests and there's been proof of concept or proof of the market. I think that's something to consider. So I don't know if you would have gone the top chef way, but if your course, what's the value proposition? Is it just helping the hobbyist? Is it, and without doing your due diligence up front, you might be dissatisfied down the road. Now, if we were to go a different way, I looked at Barbecue Rub's subscription box. This is kind of an interesting, I got two big ideas for you. This is interesting because you could look at competitors, look at what is happening here. What is the aspect of this business model? Here's a wild idea for you. You could buy one of these companies. You might not think you have enough money to do that, but you could maybe even do seller financing. Like imagine, now that also might be a big risk because if they're in like, but because they're like, it's not really working and I don't know how much competition there is, but this is interesting. This would be this whole idea. These are subscription boxes and maybe other people's stuff. But imagine if you ran a company like one of these yourself, Grow Masters Club, different things. These also might be an affiliate you could double down with, but let me give you one final thought as we also then have Caleb come on in a second and we'll talk a little bit about the channel. I asked Layla Hermosi, what is the most ethical way to build a $1 million per year business as a content creator? She goes, no one's ever asked me that question. She goes, what I would do is I would look for one 7-figure sponsor. It's quite the thought exercise. So what I think is an interesting play, and we can spin off on that, is you already have a great brand. You have a lot of excellence. You have a lot, and this depends on, again, what you want to do. If you want to teach, by the way, you already are teaching. And over time, there's no reason why you couldn't also have a course, but maybe that's not the main thing. But the thought there is this idea of, I think too many creators do a one-off brand sponsorship as opposed to looking for a partnership for like their entire year. And that's what she broke down. She was like, I would think about my niche, the influence in the community, and I would think about, let's say it was Grow Masters Club. And maybe it's not 7 figures with the size of your channel or whatever, and maybe, but could Grow Masters Club pay you $250,000 a year? That's for sponsoring being the majorative sponsor on your channel. Could they pay you 6 figures flat with affiliate opportunities of 150K additional because of how much performance-based is driven from your link? And instead of just doing one-off brand deals, you are able to have your whole year planned out with one keystone sponsor. Any thoughts on that, David?
I'm interested in the idea of looking at a keynote sponsor. We have taken on a sponsor historically, and that one sponsor that we took on, we had a great relationship and still do to this day. But one of the challenges is that creating content for that brand was not something that people were searching for. And we really saw a good 6 to 8 month decline in views as we tried to make more things during their product.
Well, you got to think about the terms. I would never want to create content for that brand. I would want to negotiate. You get to create content that you know is going to perform. That's a good learning curve. You have to retain that control and say, listen, I understand your objective. This is how many units we need to sell in a year to even make this sponsorship equate to 6 figures. You got to let me do my thing. And sometimes that might be product placement. That's direct call to action. This video is brought to you by, but I can't just force a video about your product. What I'm trying to do is integrate your product into maybe even a video that mentions other products. Brands get all nervous, like now you can't talk about anything else. So you have to stay in the driver's seat to say, listen, if this is the right relationship and partnership, we're solving for you. What is it you want? X new subscribers, X new signups, X new whatever. Okay, great. We have a year to do that. Okay, great. Now, of course, there's going to be some boundaries, like if I am promoting a direct competitor, but I would think in barbecue, competitors are everywhere. Your superpower is covering alternative options, alternative smokers. So the negotiation process would be no small feat of looking at brands and finding brands. But in summary, I think it's assessing the different business models, starting a line of rubs yourself. That becomes, it's not unlike Graham Stephan doing his bankroll coffee or Emma Chamberlain doing coffee. You eventually do your rubs. You decide if that's the business you want to be in. You also decide that the margins might not be great there. I like Layla Hermosi's advice because it is nice. It's a lot of work. Maybe you might have to have 10 to 20 to 30 conversations, but the simplicity of finding like a keystone sponsor that could solve for your entire budget the whole year. And then affiliates and ad revenue is gravy upon that. And you're in a multiple 6-figure business. I think the current numbers on your channel maps to that. I really do. And I think in 2024, brands are more aware than ever that would be a dream for them to work with somebody smart, strong relationship. And then you don't tread this lightly. It's like a marriage. If it's 1 year long, you're like married for a year. Like you're eventually going to see their morning breath, their issues. They're going to see yours. You got to work through stuff. But I think that if you were solving for hitting a financial target, that might be one of the best ways to do it. Any final thoughts as we bring Caleb on?
No, I think that's a good word. We've looked at starting our own rub line, starting our own apparel line, merch, but it's incredibly saturated. And the price to get started is pretty steep. I mean, you've got to have a warehouse full of your first product. And so we looked at that and go, I'm not convinced that that's the way to go. But it seems like that's the way 95% of creators in this space are going. But I'm not seeing the numbers to back it up. The price per unit profit is really low. And so it's a numbers game.
Yep. I really like that sponsor strategy. That Layla Hermosi podcast. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's dropping probably in the next 2 weeks. There's like a 15-minute section on partnerships that rocked my world. And I've talked about, I think that one of the shortest paths when you're already a master at the channel and you're doing all of this, it's like instant. And what's kind of crazy is if you had the right partner, the right sponsor, you might even be able to get like half down, or maybe you're just paid every month. You might get a $20,000 check, and this might, I don't know if these numbers sound crazy, but I think the right sponsor, different ways bigger companies spend their marketing dollars. I mean, to pay you $250,000 for a year, this is not that crazy. $20K a month kind of a thing. And what also, that's like jet fuel. Would $20K cash infusion right now give you some momentum?
Yeah.
So, I mean, then it's just a matter of finding that sponsor. Anyways, okay, I love this conversation. Caleb, but as we land the plane and we have one other guest and we want to hit 7-starred Q&As, any thoughts on the channel? And now that you've had some time to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And David, just super cool to see you. And something that I'm feeling, I could be wrong, but I feel like, David, you have a desire to want to connect with your audience, and you feel like that's maybe a disconnect for you personally. And I think that is because of your background and your heart. And maybe you have this YouTube channel and you're like, okay, I've got all these videos out, but where's the intimacy or where's the relationship building? Am I kind of right on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so I think that's powerful. And I think that's good that you have that desire. And I think there are things that you could do on your channel that will foster that. And I think that would be good for you overall. And especially as you dig into some of these things that Sean's talking about and brand partnerships and deals and all this stuff, I think you having that, like the typical like 1,000 true fans and building that base of raving fans is important. And just so, as I was going through your channel, some of the things that I would recommend are definitely using your community tab a lot more. We've talked about this all the time, but like the community tab is literally put there by YouTube to say, hey, we need a space for community. And that was something that, content creators have been asking for, like, how do we connect with our community? Literally, that's what it's there for, right? And so connect with your community in that way, be consistent there, show up, have different types of posts. I think Sean's going to show you some of the different types of posts that we use, but
more surveys.
Yeah.
Surveys, questions, open-ended questions that inspire your next video idea. Even people voting on titles, which you're already getting views. A better title. So I put 4 titles around this upload. One was an absolutely massive clear winner at 52%. And this is one of the hardest videos to position because we did a staff meeting that was kind of off brand for us. So it already was not going to do that great. But how to win, ended up getting the most votes. But back to you, Caleb, whether it's linking to other videos, reactivating back videos in your library. You could post on your community tab not only once a day, up to 3 times a day. So
yeah, and I think even with you, David, because you have such a large library of content, like every now and then you can add one of your older videos, show that to the new people that are in your community. And then again, yeah, like behind the scenes type stuff, surveys, just regular day-to-day stuff, questions. And then this is not like the biggest needle mover, but like little things I saw, like have a pinned comment on your video. And that's you again, you're starting the conversation, you're engaging the community. And then another major thing is, and I know that this can be difficult, but respond to as many comments as you can, because those one-on-one touch points is where you build that relationship. Because I mean, just think about it. Like somebody comes to your channel randomly, like they're searching for something, they come to your channel and they take the time to comment. And then they get that response from a channel that has 90,000 subscribers. There's just a warm feeling that's like, man, that's powerful. And then especially for those people that subscribe, like let's say they gave you the subscription, they subscribed and they comment, then like you're just extra honoring them by showing up, and then they write back and then you write back again. And those are just extra touch points to get them into your ecosystem and let them know like this is a great place. Like I'm here, I'm a real person. I'm not just somebody who's sitting back here and just showing you items. Like I'm here for real. Sean,
do you have an Amazon influencer page, David?
Yes.
One thought here as a reminder, this link, which leads to this great blog review of the product or whatever, is missing HTTP:// so it's not clickable. So just always best practice for you and everybody is to make sure that the links are clickable. These others are. But another thought is perhaps in a video that is a listicle or has a list of multiple products. I love having a link above the fold, maybe not to the blog, or that could be the best one, but to like an Amazon influencer page with all 5 products, all 10 products, making it as easy as possible for people watching the video, if it's related to affiliate marketing, that 1, that link would be above the fold, and 2, that link would be clickable. So then boom, they're able to go over and you get it. You're already having success with affiliate marketing, even if they're like, okay, cool. I'm not ready yet. We haven't moved into our new house yet, but you get that click. And then next thing you know, you're selling toilet paper and you're like, wow, I'm getting credit for canned green beans from people on Amazon as well, which just compounds and makes those numbers bigger. Final things, Caleb, as we land the plane.
Yeah. 2 or 3 more things quickly. Like another way to connect is live streaming. Like could you do some sort of community live streaming? We have recently, like I heard Sean talking about this, kind of having a show. I'm not saying go all in on a show right now, but I'm saying like thinking through, especially you're thinking about, I want to do a course. And so this could actually be kind of like a test run. Like it's like, what are we talking about on this show? Are we talking about techniques for grilling, seasoning techniques, how to host a barbecue? Especially you're saying like that is something that you want to build relationships and you want it to be more than just the grill. So it's like, what are topics that people could connect with you, David, a little bit deeper? And at the same time, obviously, like you're sending them to Amazon affiliates or whatever rubs you have and all that stuff. But I just feel like I love live stream. Like I absolutely love live streaming. I mean, we're doing live streaming right now, right? It's an amazing way to just connect with the community. And it takes time, like, and you have to build it up. And so, you know, Sean also mentioned, doesn't mean you go every week, maybe once a month, maybe every 2 weeks. And it's just coming up with a really great topic and a really great opportunity for you to promote that thing before you go live, promote it on your, if you have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and it's like, all right, we're going to get together about this topic. And there are some modules like if you go to VRA, there is a module on community live streaming and evergreen live streaming. I would study both, but think about community live streaming. And then final thing is thinking about the type of content that is going to connect with people. If you want to make that, if you want to make that type of connection, what type of content actually builds relationship? Of course, I still want you to make the videos that are like reviewing that, because that's obviously moved the needle, but try to stick in other types of, I think recipe videos. I know you do those, cooking techniques. Those are a different vibe, where I'm not necessarily just searching how to buy this thing. I am searching how to cook something, but like even myself, when I search how to cook something, I do connect with that person. Like I really like them and their personality, and I will subscribe to channels just because they have a super cool vibe and I like to cook in general. So that, and then one last thing, and Sean might be able to touch on this, is I was looking at one of your last videos, and I'm just looking at the kind of the talking head portion of it. It feels like you're inside, and the background doesn't really say cooking, chef, grills to me. And so some of your older videos, you're outside, you've got the wood behind you, and it just feels more like this is a grilling channel. This one, just something about the background doesn't speak grilling channel to me. And so I don't know, maybe there's a few little tweaks that you could make to that background just to give that vibe of grill channel, cooking channel. So that would be some of my just overall quick takes on that.
Yeah,
But
that's
overall,
a really good
you are absolutely crushing it. And so like, I'm super encouraged for you, and you're on the right path, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, we've got an outdoor kitchen that we like to shoot in outside. We live in the Midwest, and we average about 15 to 20-mile-an-hour winds here.
I knew it.
And it's
Yeah.
really, really
Super
tough.
cold right
to
now.
do that. It's cold right now. I mean, so for the winter, there's not a lot we can shoot for about a three and a half month period. And we need a studio environment to be able to shoot a lot of that A-roll type stuff. But we really want to get outside, but it's about how do we get outside in a controlled way where we can actually use the audio. And we were just working in the VRA Elite, family, trying to figure out some of our audio issues, because right now it's just massive wind buffeting on all of our stuff. So if we can get that under control, I can shoot in 20-mile-an-hour wind. We won't be doing Salt Bay and seasoning from above. It'll be like putting it in the pot, but we'd like to get there. Right now, we just have some logistical issues to get around.
It's almost another video.
That was encouraging to everybody here thinking about it's, man, it's not about your resources, it's your resourcefulness. Whatever comes your way, 20-mile-per-hour winds, cold temperatures, everything is figure outable. David, I appreciate you so much. Did you get value today?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on. And thank you, Caleb, for all of those insights. And in just a second, we're going to have Brandon on, but we also have some Q&A. This is the Coffee with Cannell show. What are you drinking today? I got some Honduras Onyx coffee, my second cup. And really, this is more than one cup. I mean, look at the size of this cup, right? It's bigger than my head. And so maybe each cup equals 4 cups or something. Let me know what you're drinking. And we're always staying hydrated on the Coffee with Cannell show. And lots of lessons with the barbecue lab. If you're just jumping on, make sure to subscribe and like if you haven't liked yet. I'm not sure if we've done the little survey, Drea, but we always got to do that. Ask people if they like the video or other creative things here on the live chat. Thanks for being a part of the show live, also on Facebook. Busy with dogs, drinking water, smart move. Tequila, wow. What time is it where you're at? It's time for tequila, I'll tell you that. Got to have at least 10 cups of coffee. I feel that for real. And how we doing? All right. So we're going to hit a few questions and then get into this channel review. Do you recommend recording a channel trailer for your YouTube channel? I don't think it's necessary. I don't discourage it. What I do recommend is that you go into your channel. So here's the question. Should you or should you not record a channel trailer for your YouTube channel? One thing you for sure should do is take advantage of two settings that most creators miss when it comes to YouTube. And so if we cut into our YouTube analytics and backend studio here and we go to customization, there's two areas called video spotlight that you want to add a video to. One is a channel trailer for people who haven't subscribed, and two is a featured video for returning subscribers. A mistake a lot of YouTube channels make is they have not selected a video for either of these. And here's my opinion. I don't think you actually need a custom channel trailer, but what you should put here is a video that is your best first impression. I would encourage that video is maybe a little bit shorter and not super long, because it's kind of like dating. You're going to go on a speed date before you go on a long date, before you get engaged, and then eventually get married. So what would be a good first impression video? And what's even a video that is going to lead to subscribers? What's also a current video? What's one of the best first impression videos for your channel? Some of your best content. And then for returning subscribers, what's maybe another video that then gives them, think about first date, second date. First date, trying to dress to impress. I got my Tommy Hilfiger cologne on. I got my Yes Chef hat on, because you know she's going to resonate with the culinary skills of the bear. Okay, listen. And then what about the second date? You're still like getting to know each other and still letting people know more about you. So my personal opinion is, look at your library, and today, while you're watching this, like as you're watching this video, you should update this, because if there's nothing there, you should take the best two videos from your library that best align with what I'm saying right now and update these. And then finally, if you want to make a channel trailer, just follow this framework. I think you should clarify why the view, who the channel's for. The best way to do that's with questions. So I think number one, you clarify who the channel is for. Do you want to learn how to barbecue delicious foods on a budget? Are you interested in brisket and steak and fish and making those things easy, even if you're a brand new barbecue person? If so, then this channel's for you. Welcome to Barbecue Secrets with Sean Cannell. On this channel, we do step-by-step cooking videos showing you how to not ruin your steak or your food when you cook it. We do gear and product reviews, whether that's meat thermometers, this and that. And we also do setup videos, so how you can customize your barbecue space so that you can create community. And so you're going to want to encourage people. This is who the channel's for. You could introduce yourself and say, this is what you could expect. What are like maybe the 3 buckets of content on your channel? And then tell why, because people follow people with shared beliefs and shared values, but also why does your channel matter? It's not just the what, it's not just the how, but it's also the why. And that might start like, this is what you'll get on the channel because we believe everybody has the right to amazing barbecued food. Because we believe that barbecued food creates community and unifies, families, as well as satisfies appetites. We believe that food is the game, like whatever. So what's your why? What's the mission behind that? That also will not just fire the viewer up, but it'll fire you up and it'll help you think through things. And then make sure to give a clear call to action. And so if that sounds like it's for you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you never miss when we upload a video. There's a YouTube channel trailer template for you, basically, is following out something like that. But in summary, I don't think you even need to do that. You could just post these videos here. That would be a good first impression, because if those videos, so mine right now for 2024 is a new video, is an updated video about starting a YouTube channel in 2024. And it's really optimized. It's short, it's punchy, it's valuable. And people could infer almost all of that You know what I mean? Like they're getting value, like, oh, this channel's for people who want to start YouTube channels. Cool. Like, and they could click subscribe. I'm not against channel trailers. I just haven't got around to making a new one in a few years. It's a great question. All right. What's the best way to film an ad for a sponsor who requests 3 hooks for one product? All at once? All at once or up locations? This is for outdoor clothing. I don't know. What's the best way to film an ad? I mean, I guess if they want 3, if they agree, if that's what their terms were, I would ask them. Like, what do you even mean? But if they want 3 hooks and you agreed to the terms and you signed the contract and you are in the contract, any point of lacking clarity in the contract should be clarified with the brand. And so if they're saying, we're going to pay you $300 and send you free outdoor clothing, and here's just what we want. And I don't know if they just want the hooks or they want 3 different ads. But that's not uncommon, meaning like when I shoot ads for like our YouTube challenges and stuff. And sometimes the ad, like the second 45 seconds is the same, but the first 15 seconds is a different hook. So the first hook is like, do you want to start or grow a YouTube channel this year? And the second hook is like, hey, are you under 1,000 subscribers? And the third hook is something else. And one of the reasons why this just would get inside the psychology of the brand, the reasons they might want to do that is because they're going to test this on, like, they're going to run ads on it, because that's what you're saying. You're filming an ad for a sponsor. So it sounds like you're also kind of UGC creator, user generated content creator. That's what their intent is to probably do with it, is then they will run all 3 ads and then turn off the 2 that aren't performing as well as the best performing one. I would shoot them all at once. When I do that, I might shoot this angle, hook 1, this angle, hook 2, this angle, hook 3, or I just shoot them all on the same, but it's verbally what the difference hook is. But I think it's a clarity of getting expectations from them. So I think you could switch up the locations, but I don't know if that's as important as you just want each hook to make sense. I mean, like if I was doing parenting or something, the hook might be me mid changing my son John's diaper. Be like, are you just stressed out by these crazy kids? And having like a crazy kid in the shot would necessitate the hook, versus if it was also like maybe just home in general, I might put like a bandana on and an apron, and I'd be like in a toilet, like cleaning it. And I'd just be like, are you stressed out by all the home chores and family stuff that's going on, cleaning the toilet? It's a good hook, because now I'm visually in the environment of whatever. So anyways, I hope that there's a lot of good ideas in there. But I'm not your boss in this scenario. They are. So whoever this outdoor company, clothing company is, like, hey, what do you mean? Or what do you expect? Or what? And as you evolve in the content creation game, learning what questions to ask and getting as much clarity up front is super important. I have to coach our team about this all the time, as we are training people and getting new people on, and people that also a lot of times don't have a lot of experience. So we'll have like a brand deal and they're like, yeah, so the brand wants to work with us. And I'll be like, okay, so what about these 17 questions? They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I mean, what's their goal? What would they like the video to look like? How much freedom do we have? What's the budget? So I think some of what we're just talking about here is also just kind of evolving your process of getting fierce clarity in any kind of media creation context. And a lot of people should have about 15 to 30 different filters, and they're playing with one. And I guess I've done this long enough. I get way downstream, like I'm sitting on a blank canvas, like ready to write a script, and I'm confused. I don't have enough information. I don't have enough clarity. And so that's a really interesting question, unique questions. We don't always, that's the power of the Coffee with Cannell show, Caleb, is that we're always getting unique questions, different stuff. But now, without further ado, Brandon Robbins is coming on. I know that this conversation is going to be crazy. What is up, Brandon? How are you?
Hey, Sean. Hey, Caleb. Great to meet you both. Doing well.
So I'm excited to have you on. Your channel's crushing 277,000 subs. In the last month, you got 766,000 views. You grew by 5,000 subscribers. And it is kind of a ministry channel. Your question is, do you ever have a hard time understanding the Bible? So break it down. When did you start, Brandon? And what's your channel all about?
Yeah, so I started YouTube in 2019. I actually remember reading YouTube Secrets and trying to figure out all kinds of things for how to get this channel off the ground. And it took us about 2 years before we really hit our stride. And it happened when I was actually about to give up YouTube. I think I had technically given it up for a week. And at the end of that week, one of my videos that I had created about this show called The Chosen just blew up. And it went from, like 800 subscribers to 8,000 subscribers really fast. And I just knew I'd landed on something. And so what I realized is that the thing people loved about that video was partly the show, but it was partly what I was teaching about it. And so I just doubled down on it and went all in, and knew that the channel needed to be a channel not just about that show, but about teaching people how to understand the Bible and these things that most of us don't know about the world of the Bible, that as soon as we know them, just change the way we read it. And so I just started teaching things like that. So I did a series called Beyond the Words, which would take a chapter of scripture and just kind of go deep into it and help people to understand it better. Created a series called Misreading Scripture that took passages that we thought meant one thing and actually meant something else, and did things on the different disciples. And after about a year of that, we just saw that all kinds of doors were opening. And so we decided to start, we sold a live Bible study with me, and that did pretty well. And so we expanded that into other products and a community and a membership. And all of that has just really grown really fast over the past year, kind of defied our expectations. And God has opened a whole bunch of other doors, book deal, different things like that. And so right now we're at this point where we're just trying to figure out, how do we scale it, and how do we continue to grow it and kind of experience that continued exponential growth over the next few years. And one of those questions of, what got you there isn't what can get you necessarily to the next place. And so what do we need to shift and adapt to be able to do that?
Wow. Well, I'm really excited to unpack this today. And before we get there, your story really inspired me, because you talked about years of investing in YouTube and being consistent in YouTube and getting to the place where you wanted to give up. But we always say, like, you're one video away from changing like your life, your business, your ministry with YouTube. And that's exactly what happened. It was one video took off. You were just doing your thing. Chosen was a show, but you love the Bible and you love Jesus, and you were doing this, and that started. And it was maybe in rocky soil or hard soil, a flower started to blossom, and you're like, man, there's something. And then here you are. And it's crazy to think, had you quit, all the momentum and all the different stuff here, like, it's like multiverse, which is probably not our theology, but you go like, it could have been like, you just wouldn't have. There's so much on the other side that you would have discovered. If you quit, though, none of that would have happened. I just would love for you to speak to, I'm sure other creators have come to you to advice before. What have you understood now about the power of endurance or persistence and continuing to elevate and innovate your content and being patient?
Yeah, it really taught me that hard lesson that, I went into YouTube probably like many people do, just thinking like, oh, it's going to come in the next few months, or it'll come in the next video, it'll come in the next year. And it was just a commitment to just keep doing it. And, at the point at which I had pretty much given it up, it was, 2 years, and I was in a really exhausting place, and just didn't have any vision for the channel. And so I think the other thing that I learned is that, yeah, you're like one video away from kind of that big moment. But you're also one video away from figuring out what your channel is really about and what you have to offer uniquely to YouTube. And that was it for me. Because if you look at all my videos kind of pre that Chosen video, they're all over the place, because I was just trying to figure out what it was. And if I thought one video kind of took off, I would go after that and see if I could do other stuff. But when it finally hit this niche, like, it's something I absolutely love. And so there's this overwhelming well of content that, I couldn't have predicted somebody would like that. But once I knew they did, I just was ready to jump on it.
We are dropping bombs today on the Think Media podcast channel. The Facebook marketplace flipping products thing earlier was crazy. So definitely watch that on the replay and share, just check out this whole episode. That it's not that you're one video away from your YouTube channel blowing up. Great. You're one video away from figuring out what your YouTube channel is really about. Brandon, so solid. You're one video away. You've been creating forever and you're watching this maybe months, maybe even years, but there's a few degrees of really finding out what your niche is, or finding the niche within the niche, or finding a series of videos or a whole series of multi-years worth of content, tapping into a particular subject matter. But of course, that's on the other side of not giving up, of patience, of endurance, of continuing to stay positive and scan the landscape of what, try different things. And then when you find it, to triple down on that. And you've done that. And congrats on all your success. So inspiring to see. I mean, you're pushing close to 1 million views and you got a book deal and you've got all this stuff. So hit the question again, but the question is scale. Hit the question again.
Yes. Our question right now really is how to scale for where we are, and then really how to continue to scale as we expand, and what do we need to do or think about differently as we enter this new phase? So we have, like I said, a community.
Go into we.
2 people on my team. I've got a full-time guy who we just hired back in January. He does my video editing and all this other great background stuff. His name's Dave. And then my wife,
contractor?
No, he's on staff with us.
So you got a W-2.
Mm-hmm. And then my wife, she
full-time video editor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then your wife, what's she do?
She runs our community. So we have an online community that's got upwards of 6,500 people in it. It's a place where we have places where you can post teachings, prayer requests, questions, all that kind of stuff. So she runs that and interacts with them. She handles all email. She's like our main kind of.
How do you get to that community? Is it free or?
Yep, totally free. So you go to brandonrobbinsministry.com/community and you can join for free.
And she runs that full time?
No, she works a couple hours a week. Yeah.
And then she have another job?
She's a part-time speech therapist.
Does she want to keep doing that, or does she want to even be full-time here?
I don't know about full-time here. I think we constantly navigate that. Yeah, just her passion for both of these things.
Okay. And so you got the 2 people, and then, I mean, when it comes down to scale, in my opinion, I think the 2 big thoughts is going to be continue to build your team. Who would you hire next?
So the thing we've really been focusing on recently is graphic design. Being able to kind of handle some of that stuff that's just not my skill set. It takes me tons of time. One thing I guess I should mention, on top of all this, I'm also a full-time pastor. So there's a lot going on.
That's awesome, but that's intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Full-time pastor as well. So I have one book resource for you today.
Yeah.
Have you read Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell?
I don't think so.
So Buy Back Your Time, Dan Martell. There's 2 books, and we'll link these up in the show notes for anybody that, even if you're not in this season, the sooner you think about this, the better. So Buy Back Your Time. And then the other one's going to be Who Not How. And this has got to be the way you're thinking, is these 2, Who Not How and Buy Back Your Time. And then I would say for the show notes as well, and for homework after this, hit up Dan Martell on the Think Media podcast, where he talks about that a little bit more. So he talks about how to hire a team as a content creator, even if you can't afford it. Absolute essential episode with Dan Martell, author of Buy Back Your Time. And if you're watching this, we will make sure all of that is in the YouTube show notes for you. So here's my thinking is, as a full-time pastor, did you start the church?
No. Mm-mm.
You're a pastor. Are you the lead pastor?
I am. Yeah. So I was appointed here in 2018. and then kind of started YouTube
On
after
salary?
that. Hmm. Yeah.
You got a board and stuff? What's the denomination?
United Methodist is our background.
I mean, your life's full. You have kids?
I do. I have a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Bro. I don't know. You might have come on the wrong show. I'm just over here stressed. Like I'm just, I don't know. I guess it's not unlike maybe even similar to kind of stuff we're doing in our family. So to figure out, you've got to become obsessed with delegation, right? Which I'm sure you already are. And you're already at some level good at it. Is there more of like a co-pastor, or in a business context, you call it a COO? Is there somebody at the church that operates as kind of like running the church and volunteers and all that stuff?
No, I mean, so I have a good staff who's really wonderful and just excellent at helping, manage the load of everything in the church. But we also focus a lot on empowering the people of our church to serve and to do things like that. So I work closely with our different leaders in the church. Yeah.
So let's talk about scale. I would make a scale plan. And I would here's some terminology for you. What are we solving for? That's going to be a clear mission with specific numbers. And so let's break it down. The book comes out at this particular time, but I would actually make a book sales target. How many numbers of book sales are we happening? You start breaking that apart. Is there going to be a certain time when I go on other Christian podcasts or things like that? Okay. And then it's going to create a whole flywheel of problems. All right. So do we work with the PR agency, or do I realize that it might be smart to bring someone inside the company to book those for me? It's not a full-time position, but maybe is that a integrator? Is that kind of like a virtual assistant and assistant? And I just got really granular, but then we're going back. Okay. How many videos do we want to do a week? Where do we want the channel to be at? Are we going to do more brand deals? Do we want to have more people come inside of this paid discipleship thing? How many units do we want to do there? So without vision, the people perish. And so make the vision plain and put it on tablets so that we can run with it. And so I think I would, once you've gotten to this crazy mountaintop that probably blows your mind, you wouldn't have thought you would be here. I've done this many times in my career. I just saw that next peak as I'm climbing. And then I got there only to realize I'm at the bottom of an entire mountain range. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm like, wow. But now I need to spend some time at base camp, this new elevated base camp, to recover, acclimate, celebrate where you've been. These are actually like to-dos. I actually think have you celebrated intentionally your success so far?
Yeah. So one of the things I did at the end of the year is I had a coach, you might be familiar with Graham Cochran, and he had kind of recommended to us, just the idea of taking all of these different things and looking at them and celebrating them. And so we took some concentrated time at the end of the year just to really give thanks for these crazy things that had happened that we never imagined over the past year. But there's a lot of that I think we still need to do, because it's so easy in the middle of the season that you're in to just keep pushing. Like you do something, you just got to keep pushing to the next. Yeah.
So it's a missing piece, just to put that in there, not even as a side quest. It should be the main quest, but like, we're at base camp. We're having this conversation. I'm your Sherpa, I'm like, welcome, Brandon. You've got massive success, but there are many challenges and opportunities ahead. Let's reflect a little bit. Lessons, acclimate, etc. I just think that's an important part of the journey that's missed by many. They don't acknowledge their success on the way, celebrate their success. It's always under the next. You're probably type A. Enneagram, what? Do you know?
I haven't done the Enneagram.
Oh yeah, it's probably like non-Christian anyways, isn't it? Some people feel that way, right? It's like, oh no, I'm a believer. Like, so okay. Anyways, okay, so back to the scale. So scale plan. I think it's getting clear with the vision again. It's setting new goals, setting clear vision with metrics, with some timelines. And this has been one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my career. When I've reached a height that kind of blew my mind. I started to flounder because I didn't define the next target.
Mhm.
Like the Israelites conquesting the promised land, at one point they got complacent and started to just settle there. And they still, you're in the promised land, things are going great. But I think it's about getting fierce clarity on who's the next giant you're going to kill. You know, what are we doing next? You see that, but I think it's getting clear on that. But then what we're reverse engineering is an aggressive who, not how, and an aggressive way of buying back as much time as possible. So it's about creating leverage. Now you also have to determine how much risk you're willing to take. But my mentality at my company has been investing. We certainly take profit and are investing in retirement, and we're not, I got to think about my kids and think about our future, but we try to keep expenses low and our lifestyle creep low and reinvest back in the business. And the most expensive investment you're ever going to make is in the human resources, is in people. But as you then reverse engineer back, you go, okay, is one editor enough? Graphic design. Okay, great. So you get a graphic designer. I would definitely say you need kind of like a COO, aka it's too expensive if you hired a COO, but that, at least that title for the size of shop you're running, you don't need a chief operation officer. That would be 150, 200, 250 if it was like an at scale company. But you need like an integrator, because then that is somebody who kind of, and it's sort of like project management, sort of like, you know. And then I think it is interesting that maybe that person, I do think it's, once you think about the book, you might have PR. So you are essentially, where are we going? Where's that next vision? And then you're saying, okay, who do we need to help us get there? And you're already a leader because you're a pastor, and you're thinking, I think one mindset that was different for me than maybe almost all of my competitors, and it's because of the local church. It's because of doing so much time in ministry, and because I got to firsthand witness a lesson that I saw over and over in churches I attended, was a part of, visited, conferences I was a part of. And it was this: older pastors thinking about succession too late. Every time. They're like 58, 63, and they're like, all right, so what's our succession plan? Honestly, it's like too late. Like, it's something about, you know, Moses passed the baton to Joshua, but Joshua didn't pass the baton. And I'm not saying, so that it's kind of a crazy thing to think about. That's maybe a side quest, because this is your personal brand and the thing you're building. But here's what I mean. From day one of starting Think Media full time, the end of 2015, it's just me. My wife runs the books, but it's literally just me. I'm the shooter, editor, talent, everything. I got a hater recently, but someone was like, all you do is create content for people that assumes they have huge budgets and all this stuff. And I was like, respectfully, sir, if you check the history books, I've been through every era and years of, I'm the shooter, editor, PR person, blog writer, optimizer, VRAR, descriptions, tags, post on other social media. I've done everything concept to completion with no help, and AI didn't exist, and I didn't have a freelancer. I didn't have anybody else. It was literally all me, and it was a side hustle. So this is the wrong channel to be on if you're looking to make excuses. You can do this in the solopreneur season, but that's not the season you're in. You're in the scale season. Forgive me for the side quest, but I get triggered. Okay, so I think it's about then like thinking, but what I did day one, 2015, going into 2016, was I immediately thought, build the team up as big as possible. Not for bloat's sake, just because if anything is going to be truly successful, it needs to have, you need people. And you've got, bro, it's actually pretty wild. You've got a lot of momentum. You've got a lot of views. You've got a lot of things happening. I think you need to start thinking a lot bigger right now. And meaning like, it's some level of risk, but you can make it calculated risk, and you could do it, you know, bit by bit. I got a verse for you. So this is also, I think, one thing that holds a lot of people back, and we're right out of Proverbs 14:4. And here's what the verse is: where there are no oxen, the trough is clean, but increase comes by the strength of an ox. People don't even know where we're at on Coffee with Cannell. It's the weirdest verse I could have brought up. You know what this verse means? This verse means there are no poopless cows. What? Here's what it's saying. It's saying if you just want your life to be nice and clean and tidy and no drama, and you want the trough to just be clean, then don't get people in your life. Yeah. But if you want, and another translation says a large harvest, it comes only by the strength of an ox. One of the reasons business owners, and you know it's a ministry, but there's this idea of stay small, keep it all. You've also got to decide at this point, who do you want to be and where do you want to go next? I got another book for you. It's called Predictable Success, because actually my advice, of course, should all be taken with a grain of salt. Predictable Success, I believe a Christian author. Really good book. And I know we're going deep, but this is fun. We don't always talk about this kind of stuff. So this is Les McEwen, great. Getting your organization on the growth track and keeping it there. It's called Predictable Success. We can link this up. But let me see if I can find the predictable success. This is a cool visual to speak about where you are, where you're going, and where you may or may not want to go next. Dang it. When the image that was large got smaller. Let's try to get a good one here. Here we go. This is super fun, Coffee with Cannell. I'm glad we're here. We are in it right now. All right, here we go. So here's the stages of business that we all go through, and even a local church and anything. Okay, so you go through the early struggle. You did that. You just told us about it. Yeah? Mm-hmm. There was probably an era where you went through where it was kind of fun. It was fun once you started actually making enough money to do this. Once you actually started getting views and you were like, now I feel like I'm getting commensurate reward and viewership for the work I'm putting in. Can you relate to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then the next phase is whitewater, where actually now you're maybe a little bit more stressed and now you have problems. Your problems are success. Wait, do I hire? How do I handle it all? I'm juggling a lot of things. It's a little bit rough. Things are breaking down a little bit. We don't have enough help. Is that relatable? Can you relate to that?
Absolutely.
So then what you have to get through whitewater, mm-hmm. into this zone of predictable success. And then one of the most challenging things there is it's actually attention to be managed. Nobody just stays there by default. It is every day. My wife, Sonia, and I, as the co-owners of our company, we drift both ways. Like we're hoping to stay here, but we're back in the whitewater. We're on the treadmill. And so then what happens is you go eventually past that into the treadmill where actually maybe you are a little overstaffed. Maybe you're like, shoot, we overstaffed and we're under training. Like we've like P&L, all this kind of stuff. But also you get into the decline of an organization. Churches would do the same thing where you're not in that. It's all humming along. Things are great, but it's kind of a grind, a little bit of burnout. Then you get stuck. And then you get into the death rattle where you might know a lot of denominations and different things that are in that. Now, here's an interesting insight, though, that he teaches, that when you hit whitewater, your only option isn't to go to predictable success. Your other option is to go back down to fun. One of your options is to say, what kind of organization do I want to build? Do I just want to keep this thing lean, keep it small, keep it fun, focus on my church, focus online, not say yes to every opportunity because I don't have that kind of bandwidth, and not really hit the gas, but figure out kind of a sustainable pace and realize that reaching certain goals I might have might be more of a 5-year thing than it is a 12-month thing. Because I don't want to scale up. I actually just want to optimize for where I'm at. See what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think that with everything I was thinking, I was writing down your stuff of like, you got your full-time editor and your wife runs your community. You're a full-time pastor and you've got to do that thing. You got the kids. So I personally, and I went through that and thought, okay, let's take it all the way back. I don't know if this has all been one incoherent, whatever, but this whole idea here is that where there are no oxen, the trough is clean. Fun, it might be like it's clean, it's sustainable, there's not a lot of drama. But if you want big increase, if you've got big vision, if you want to make a big impact, you want to whatever, the only way that comes is with the strength of an ox. And the reason there are no poopless cows is people are afraid of hiring. They're afraid of delegating because they're like, well, wait a minute. If I get people involved in my life, they might stink a little bit. Fact, 100%. Like, oh, Sean, did your life get easier with 30 people at Think Media? Heck no. Like, what are you talking about? This is like the worst thing ever. Like, people are like, what? Like, the staff is on it. Caleb's like, what? But I mean, it's like, I mean, it's just, by the way, like there's some people who I think mistakenly are like, man, if I get married, I have to deal with somebody else's issues. So I'm just going to only deal with mine and be alone. Like, the sheer nature of expanding your world. But people get hurt at church. If I go to a church, I might get hurt. Of course you will, because there's people there. But the only way you're really going to fulfill God's call is to be a part of a local church. Love that verse. I don't know a lot of people actually teach on it, but like, there are no poopless cows. But I would encourage us that we got to be involved with people if we want to do something, especially if we want to be a part of God's plan. And we're out here trying to keep everything clean and tidy. And this might not be for you. This could be for somebody else watching who actually, well, what if I hire an editor, or what if I hire an integrator, pay them a bunch of money, they work for me for 3 months, but then they don't work out and I lose all that money? I actually guarantee you that'll happen. If you commit to this, that'll happen 1 or 2 times. What if I hire somebody, I train them, I pour into them for 6 months, they verbally committed that they were probably going to be here at least 1 or 2 years. And then as soon as we've invested all this money, time, and training, they're gone from the company. Real Think Media story. I actually wasn't surprised because I was kind of going into it knowing that's just sort of how things go. Keeping notes always of like that individual's character and integrity in terms of, I mean, it is what it is. Also not like open-handed, not judging, but paying attention as we would, just looking at people's track record and whatever. But on a bigger picture, I'm like, well, there are no poopless cows. For the team that we've had that's grown up, like there's also going to be, if you will, some drama along the way. And I'm the worst, by the way, unless this sounds judgmental. The whole Think Media team has to deal with me. I can't even imagine. So anyways, we've gone long, but I think that this is a deeper leadership conversation. And let me ask you some questions now as we've processed a lot.
Sure.
Do you want to go back down to fun, or do you want to go up into predictable success?
No, I mean, so as you're talking about that, one of the things that is so ingrained to me about this, like this all still feels surreal to me. I mean, the fact that to go where we are over the past 3 years, it just feels like this gift that has landed upon me. And so like, there's no part of me that wants to waste that in any ways. I mean, if it's a gift and it's a responsibility, not many people ever will get to do this.
Agreed.
And I cherish that every single day. And so I don't think there is room to just live in fun. Like this is it's a mission and a ministry, and we have a goal here. And so, yeah, I mean, our goal is going to be to find that way to get to predictable success and to be manageable and to not constantly be overwhelmed. Because when you described the rapids, I mean, that is exactly where we are right now. I mean, and part of it is, choices I've made. I'm going to take a sabbatical in the summer. And so you gotta prep for the things that are coming. But part of it is just the nature of this. I mean, there's so many ways to grow, and we don't want to say no to a lot of those opportunities because they just open up more doors for the future. And so it's managing that and being able to scale the business fast enough to keep up with the growth of the business, I think is a piece of it. Yeah.
It's beautiful. And by the way, I wouldn't want to, there isn't, I don't think, a right or wrong answer to this, but your answer really resonates with our heart and our community. That was my same answer. When we say we want to help 1 million purpose-driven people create a full-time living doing what they love while making a difference in the world with YouTube, our company's mission. When we say purpose-driven people, our hope is that people would not say their greatest purpose is fun. I don't know if that is a deep purpose. Now, predictable success, Whitewater is not fun. Predictable success is fun. And it's, there's ups and downs. There's times where you're also like, the cows aren't pooping that much. And you're like, this is awesome. Like we're just chilling, There's also, but the nature of things is also like, man, there's issues and drama. We were in good seasons and bad seasons. You certainly know this with how far you've come. In church, same thing. You've signed up for mourning and celebrating and mourning with those who mourn, and the nature of walking with people and pastoring people, the whole thing. It's all the different emotions of the journey. So saying that, though, I do respect that mostly what we would speak here at Think Media is not this whole like, how do we optimize for this 4-hour work week where we could just extract as much cash as possible so we can just kind of selfishly consume and entertain ourselves, which again is one approach. But if it's a mission, if it's purpose driven, and if it's leaders are people of sacrifice, right? They're people of solving problems on the earth. They're people that see there's a need, and isn't there a cause, and isn't there that we need to fight for, and the greatest leaders are people who do lay down their life at some level, and fun is kind of avoiding that. So I really resonated, and I'm inspired with what you're saying. For time's sake, and we'll let Caleb just cover any tactical tips on your channel as we land the plane today. But I do want to summarize and remind that I'd say your next moves are to make a plan. You want to go to predictable success. You need people. Who, not how. That's the book. And you need to buy back your time so you can, which also has to do with delegating, but even thinking about what's currently on your calendar, and more than ever, getting optimized around your church responsibilities in this, and thinking about realistically, what are your targets and your goals over the next 6 and 12 and couple years, and then staffing backwards, and then determining your level of positive aggression to apply towards that. So, one of the things that is interesting, just if of course I need to be a student of my own industry and look at some of the other people in the industry, like maybe directly of YouTube education and whatnot. But if someone said, hey, Sean, why do you have 10x results or 100x results more than other people? I'd say, well, there's a couple things that are public knowledge that are just obvious, maybe obvious, of why we're making the impact that we're making. A lot of people that are our competitors have like 1 or 2 people working for them. I have 30. It's math. And then you also might say, is there some level of inefficiency? And is that maximized for profit? Not at this moment. But what am I optimizing? Impact, growth, reaching more. And ever since I could order guacamole at Chipotle with price insensitivity, they're like, it's $3.26 with inflation. I'm like, 2 scoops then, man. Ever since, obviously, I reached a level of financial stability. Yeah. Like, I'm not optimizing for how much money can I take off the table. I'm optimizing for the impact. So I think where they're like afraid of expanding up, I just had to determine my own risk tolerance. And that, for me, it was much more about impact and mission, and then learning as I go. So that's a lot of self-awareness journey. And so, but that's math. Of course, a competitor with a team of 3 is going to be dominated by a team of 30. If all the other things were equal. Another one was paid ads, a conversation for another day, but where some of our competitors might spend $1,000 or $2,000 a month on paid ads, we spend over $1 million a year. Mm-hmm. And that factor of scale, and let's take it back. For those also that make a video a month, I would make 2 ranked videos a week as a solo creator, creating a flywheel effect. So I had 250 ranked videos by myself before there was a whole team bringing connected to affiliate marketing that gave me a baseline of affiliate income, because everybody that was romantic about all these other video types, I understood the power of evergreen content, ranked videos, and passive income to give me a baseline strategically to build a business upon. So there's a lot of intentional things that actually tracks back to just math and some thinking, and we definitely got to land the plane. Have you gotten value out of this conversation today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now I can preach on Proverbs 14, so that's good. I've got that for Sunday. But
there are no poopless cows.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is really helpful just to give us perspective on where to go. And we have a lot of things. I mean, we have a lot of goals. And so being able to live that out, and it is definitely an awareness now of how understaffed we are.
Yes. And I appreciate, I mean, And it's up to you. And of course, be safe and move at the speed. Like we're like a move at the speed of cash, kind of Dave Ramsey. You know, we don't ever taking out lines of credit, although I do have credit cards. But like, you know, we're not looking to. I told Dave in a podcast interview that's coming out. I said, Dave, what do you think about this? Charlie Munger had a quote that was, "There's only 3 things that destroy successful men: ladies, liquor, and leverage." He'd lost his mind. He was like, "Oh, that's so funny, Charlie's." And then I said, but then Warren corrected him and said, "There's actually only one thing that destroys successful men, and it's leverage. It's really only one thing." Which I was like, Dave, you must love that because you're the non-credit guy. So I think that in your growth, as risky as it will be, and as much drama that will come along with pooping cows on the journey, I think it's just accepting that, but it's just moving at the speed of wisdom. It's realizing that all the targets you set for this next stage are for the next 12 months, and it ends up taking twice as long and cost twice as much. But it's back to first principles that, you know, getting clear vision for this next season, committing to that, taking mitigated and calculated risks to go to that next level, and stretching a little bit beyond what you're comfortable with, leaving room for God to fill in the gaps and grace to fill in the gaps, and then adapting as you go. So it's been a fun conversation. I've never brought up that predictable success stuff before, nor the poopless cows thing. Caleb, what do you think about Proverbs 14:4, where there are no ox in the trough is clean, but increase comes by the strength of an ox? Have you ever heard that verse taught on before?
I was going to say, you might be the first person that has actually like potentially made a sermon out of this. So congratulations. That was great.
It's so funny. Okay. Hey, anything as we land the plane? Brandon's crushing it. Be brief. The opposite of
Got it.
what I've been here. But let's get a few insights on his channel. Any tweaks that you see?
Absolutely. And like, just really quick, there's so many little things and clues for business people or people on YouTube. The thing that stood out to me right now in this conversation is have joy in every single season, because no matter what season you're in, if you don't have joy, you are going to find a problem. If you haven't started your YouTube yet, you're gonna say, "Oh my gosh, it's too saturated," or "I can't do it," or "I don't know what to talk about." Once you've had a following like Brandon, it's like, well, what's the next stage? Do I move forward? Do I stay where I'm at? Once you're at Sean's, it's like, I've got 30 people. What do I do? So it's like you're always gonna have some negative thing pulling at you, and you have to really choose to focus on joy. So I feel like that can help any of us at any level. And so just a few things that I saw, Brandon, when I first went on your channel and I looked at the banner, I was immediately confused. It was 4 different things. And I know what The Chosen is, but I had to go and search The Chosen Explained, because I thought that was like a series or I didn't understand what it was, and Google did not help me with that. So, but as I'm going through your channel, like I get it now that you talk about these 4 different things, and these are kind of like buckets of videos that you make. But just so that you know, I was very confused at the beginning. And so I feel like you might let that happen organically. I don't know if you have that up there. It's just a little confusing. Maybe have it in the about section. And so I think you talking about having a graphic designer come in is going to be super helpful. Another thing, like if I look at that thumbnail, The Truth About Herod, maybe have like a white outline around Herod, just because he's kind of blending into the black. And then with the title of that, it just repeats. So it's The Truth About Herod. And so a thought that I had was like, are you trying to make the videos fit your series, or are you trying to make a video that reaches the right audience, right? And so I think maybe having The Truth About Herod in the thumbnail was pretty cool, but in the title, something a little bit more enticing. And you did do that on other videos. So I think for me, it's just a matter of like the consistency in that. If I look at the thumbnail that said, "Why did he do this?" It's the one all the way to the right. There's a guy looking away. I had no idea that was a guy. Like, I didn't really know what I was looking at there. So just a little bit of confusion. And then I think with those 4 buckets of content that you're making, you're actually adding them on the bottom left of some of your videos, like the one that says what you need to know before watching The Chosen. It's there. There's another one, that one where it says, "Beware, this mistakes could ruin your life." You're kind of trying to stick those in there, but they're just you can't actually read them, you can't see them. So I think these videos stand alone. I think it's pretty clear the type of content you're making on your channel. I don't think that you need it in there, but Some of your thumbnails are super fire. I like a lot of the ones where you have the arrows and it's pointing to a little thing and it's just like a little intrigue and getting me to go a little bit deeper. But overall, I think you're doing amazing. You're doing great. And just, yeah, keep up the good work. Super, super pumped for you, Brandon. You're doing awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
And then appreciate you. And thank you so much for coming on the show today. Fun conversation. Love what you're doing and excited to see this whole next season, man. This scale season and what you build from here.
Thank you guys so much. This is a gift. So I appreciate your time.
Awesome. All right, Brandon.
Take care.
Okay. So Caleb, we have covered a lot today. We're an hour and 40 minutes into the Coffee with Cannell show. Couple questions. We have a few questions we're going to answer, but if you haven't hit the like button yet, that helps get the word out. If you know somebody maybe that has a ministry channel, maybe that's a barbecue channel or something else, and there was an aha moment, maybe let them know about this. You know, the predictable success thing is a very powerful framework. And I would recommend, if you're looking for some reading material, especially as a business owner, the Predictable Success book, Who Not How, Buy Back Your Time, are some great resources. Today's episode is also brought to you by growwithvideolive.com. In fact, we have a little kind of video that here, just check this out.
We went to this conference and we obviously decided to go to it. And when we went to this conference and we obviously decided to go to it. And when we got there, it's like, we really didn't know what to expect. I really went to see Gary. Like that was the main, that was my main motivation to go. And we weren't doing anything at that time with video. I left there saying that was the best conference I've ever been to.
Ever in the history of conferences that I have been to, and I've been to a lot of these. I used to travel the country and speak at these conferences. And this was single-handedly the most valuable conference that we have been to, even personally, that I've been to.
And what's funny is I'm actually glad I didn't know who those people were, because it made it that much more entertaining. You know, like not even knowing who Patrick Bet David is, and he starts talking, and 30 seconds in, I'm like, this guy's amazing. And so it was quite the treat.
For more details about Grow with Video Live 2024, comments the word grow.
And you can't comment the word grow on this, but you can go to growwithvideolive.com. And that is where you can get a ticket for Grow with Video Live. Hey, you know, maybe you know Dave Ramsey, but the thing is, the speakers you don't know are going to blow your mind. One of the things we're absolutely obsessed with is real people with real results that are good teachers, that won't waste your time, structuring the content in such a way that it's transformative, giving you opportunities for networking and life-changing relationships, and just the power of getting in the room. There are some things that are caught and not just taught. Information is one thing. Actually experiencing the information and the emotion that comes along with traveling, getting out from behind your computer, getting some fresh air, flying to Vegas, it's going to be incredible. So I want to encourage you, grab your ticket, growwithvideolive.com. And we'll hit maybe a question or two. I've got a meeting coming up here, but I want to thank you for being a part of the Coffee with Cannell show. And I want to ask you, what has been an aha moment today from this session? Because we're all about taking action and not just getting information. What did you like best? You figuring out where you are in predictable success. You may be thinking about your financial opportunities, whether it's courses or products or a Keystone sponsor. We talked about that earlier. At the very beginning, we talked about what to do if you have video ideas block. And we talked about 3 tools for coming up with video ideas using AI. And so let me know what your biggest aha takeaway. Okay, what's up with that? What's the story with the hat? Rock, good to see you. So yes, chef is number one, just the language and the vernacular of kitchens like 11th Madison and things like that in New York, and high-end kitchens. Yes, chef, you know, you have whatever, but this Yes, Chef really would be the bear. It's an FX show. It's 2 seasons, and it's great. And so the whole Yes, Chef, and it's what I expect on our team, you know. All right, we need to get those thumbnails done. Yes, chef, and everyone's chef. That's it's just like the language of honoring everybody that's in the kitchen, getting it done on mission together. as it pertains to giving the guests a great experience, delicious food, working together towards a common goal. And so, what does yes, chef mean? The question of the day, isn't it? In short, yes, chef is the reply for every command you are given in a kitchen. It doesn't matter how you think things need to be done. So it's the reply to every command. Hey, can you get the steak done? Yes, chef. Hey, can you take the trash out? Yes, chef. All right. Let's look at these final questions here. And the wellness niche. I have a quote used as a reel on IG. Should I post it as a short or a static image on the community tab? You can. In 2024, that is not my favorite type of content. As a reel with trending audio and like an animated background, it might work. It's worth checking out. And trending audio being the key there. I think that could be all right. I mean, sure, you could post it as a static image on the community tab. I just would put it in like spot 10 out of much better things you could do on the community tab. Text only, open-ended question, survey, promotion of a video in an intentional way, getting conversations and community engagement, an inspirational quote. Okay, great too. Like that's on there. It's on the list. And so, yeah, go for it. And let me encourage you this, gig work mama. Test everything. Let me encourage you this, Coffee with Cannell show. Test and experiment. Analyze and adapt. Test and experiment. Analyze and adapt. Don't overthink things too much. Sean, should I do this video or that video? I don't know. Post them both. Analyze, review. How'd they do? Adapt your strategy accordingly. That one bombed. The other one did good. I'm going to do one more of the other style. So don't let me talk you out of posting quotes, but try them. Test and experiment. Analyze and adapt. TJ and Rose, Sean, I've noticed my suggested video CTR is almost 2 to 3 times lower than my browse CTR. Any ideas how this could happen? Is there any way to overcome this? I mean, that's different traffic sources usually have similar. Different traffic sources have similar metrics. Okay. So if we go traffic source and let's see here. So search has a 10% CTR on Think Media. Browse has a 4%. Suggested has a 2%. What did you said? You said my suggested is 2 to 3 times lower than browse. Yeah. Our suggested is 50% of browse. More than anything, I just think your channel's not broken. I don't think it's not an issue of a way to overcome it. Because let's think through this. And by the way, let's also look at a couple different metrics. So one of the reasons why search is so high, especially if you have a ranked video, is person types in problem. Your video shows up, they click on it. 1 out of 10 people are clicking on my video. Incredibly high click-through rate. But watch this insidious insight. 10% click-through rate, but only 2 minutes of average view duration. These are just actually common across the platform. Search-based traffic has lower view duration. And then notice this. Browse has double the average view duration. And notice this. This is insane. Suggested has 4x the average view duration of search. Now, you can report your numbers to me in the comments if you're watching on the replay and hashtag replay fan. If you made it this far, drop a comment, hashtag replay fam, because we are 1 hour and 45 minutes into this. That is insane. It's kind of what are we solving for? So click-through rate is not everything. I would rather have 8-minute average view duration because time on platform matters. Click-through rate doesn't matter most. Time on platform matters most. Clicking on your video is not the most important thing. Click on your video, stay on the platform for 2 seconds. YouTube is not happy. View duration, minutes matter most. Watch time matters most. So anyways, different traffic sources have different amounts of these metrics. to me, exactly what you said. I'm like, that's exactly what every channel experiences. And I also think that without overthinking it, tapping into all of the traffic, I'll take it all though. I'll take higher click-through rate. I'll just take it all. Like, at the end of the day, of course, there's certain things you want and certain things you're optimizing for, but like, what are you optimizing? Impact, reach people, ad revenue. Like, I'll take it all. Like, I'll take the different types of traffic source. Some people go, search, you shouldn't do search, or you should only do suggested. I'm like, why wouldn't you do both? So lastly, I would say what's fascinating is this would argue why suggested though is the best form of traffic, because videos that are suggested, YouTube is kind of the algorithms optimizing that when someone clicks on them, they actually hang out. Like, that's a long time. Across this entire channel, the average view duration is 8 minutes. That's a lot. So that there would be an insight here that would say, how can we, you asked between maybe what? You asked between browse and suggested. I would say suggested, the lesson here is that is the best traffic source for keeping people on platforms. So how could I get my videos suggested more? We don't have time to go into that, but that would be a good thing to solve for. And I would be fine if the click-through rate gets driven down, but I'm getting X number of views there because the amount of watch time. Idiot Craftman, I started shooting a video. I've kind of lost focus on what I set out to do. I'm not confident in the video as when I started making it. Should I scrap it or push through? It's totally up to you. I think we've all been there. As far as it's framework day. And Seth Godin in the dip. This would talk about like businesses in general. But this would be true. You could apply this to an individual video. And here's the framework. Dear God, why are these things so small? Sorry for pixelated video here, but so here's what's going to happen. You start a project and you're pumped. You have put almost no effort in, and you also haven't gotten results, but you get pumped, and then inevitably you go into what's called the dip, where you've put a lot of effort in and you really have no results to show for it. So this could be channel wide or one video. And what happens is if you persevere and finish that video and put it out there, that not you had to keep putting effort into it, but eventually you got that thing launched. The thing that I'm worried about for you is, I mean, if you don't publish it, you'll never know. If you don't finish it, it's left undone. There's something so powerful just in completion. I believe completion builds our confidence. Forget views. It's a job well done. Builds our inner self-worth and strengthens our mindset and our mental fortitude. When I clean up my office and when I clean my garage, I complete something. I feel good about it. But there's a tension there. I think there's also sunk cost. I had a good idea here. There's lots of B-roll. The story doesn't make sense. I'm not proud of it. And you're not just being negative. You're like, no, it actually sucks. Like, it's just actually terrible. I should start another video. That's up for you to decide. Done is better than perfect. I really believe that entrepreneurship ethic. So done and posted and shared with the world. How many lives can a video impact and change when it's still on your hard drive and hasn't been exported and uploaded to YouTube? 0. How many lives does it have the potential to change once it's uploaded? Hundreds and thousands and maybe millions. So it's just simple questions. Is it salvageable? Could you look at it with a fresh, are you being overly critical? Like, are you just being really critical and negative when actually a third party would say, no, it's so fine. You're just being hard on yourself. Do you need to just take a break? Sometimes when we get into the dip, we can get really in our head, get discouraged. Like, everything's at an all-time low once you're in the dip. You're discouraged, you're overwhelmed. Oh man, I just want to quit. I just want to give this thing up. And we just need to push through the slog. So maybe you just need to like get a fresh wind of creativity, take a nap, drink some electrolytes, finish the video. And I guess you could scrap it and move on to your next one. And the problem is you just would never know. Again, I'm not talking you out of that because You might just intuition might say this video truly sucks. Like, let me just move on. The flip side is if you publish it, at least you completed it. It's published, and maybe you'll be surprised because maybe you were too far in your own head. And then you're like, dude, what? Why was this 1 out of 10? Why do people like this so much? That has happened to me many times in my career because if you get stuck in your own head, you're dead. The battlefield for the mind. Our minds play tricks on us. And you might be right, but we won't know unless we try. So do with that what you will. Are there any good places to do market research for online courses? A weird one that I would recommend for you is just Amazon.com, which sounds funny because it's not about online courses, but I'd go to books, you know? And the reason I'd go to books is because like books are courses. They have an outline, they have steps, they have frameworks. They have step 1, step 2, step 3. They have section 1, section 2, section 3. They have 15 steps. Cool. So books, and then the left side, one of the most underutilized tools is the left side of Amazon. If you're looking for solid niches, if you can't find it on Amazon, then it might be hard to verify that humans are interested in it. So is travel a good niche? For sure. Test preparation, that'd be a great YouTube channel. Teen and young adult, yes. Self-help, science fiction, science. So not only do you have all of these, okay, but what about this? Then you go, okay, could a course on test preparation be good? Are you kidding? One of the best online courses. Okay, cool. So then you go test preparation and you go, okay, professional, college, high school, graduate school, driver's ed, flashcards. Like driver's ed, probably nobody going to buy a course on that. But then you go into professional. And so this is market research. And you're like, okay, teaching, civil service, medical, CPA. Okay, cool. Let's like go CPA or nursing or something. And then you have like a $30 course on how to quickly train and pass your nursing test. You have a $100 course on the S-Corp beginner's guide. And then in your market research here, you look at the reviews and you kind of reverse engineer the book sales to determine the size of the market, the TAM, the total addressable market. And again, I'm only giving you one tool. We teach a lot of different tools about all kinds of stuff in like our Video Ranking Academy course and our Niche Finder course. But if you see what I mean, what we're doing is we're finding ways to verify market interest or to research markets. Even if the people who bought this book don't watch YouTube, it just verifies that humans are interested in passing the CPA exam, which you could probably infer anyways, but now you've actually not just had emotional feelings, but you've backed them up with data. So that's a great way to think about if you want to write a successful book, go find another successful book on that topic. And if you can't find one, it should be a red flag. Doesn't mean don't write the book, but it's actually a red flag that like we haven't. If I can't verify other success or other interest in this, I'm just going to be on a riskier path. A lot of people who buy books would want audio. They'd want an online course, different modalities of things. So that's another tool for you using Amazon.com. How do we convert from doing free product reviews to getting paid for a product review? Well, as your influence grows, as you've verified results, it also could be negotiation. For the small creator, here's what I would recommend. One, yeah, get free products. And it sounds like you're doing that, which is really cool. 2, track your results. So let me tell you about a story we did with a camera company. Now, mind you, this is pretty big scale and we had done brand deals, but how did I track my results? It's hard to track on Amazon, but we wanted to do a brand deal with the camera company. And so I went into earnings. I could go last 30 days commissions and I could go earnings. And then and if somebody knows, let me know if there's an easier way to do this, but on Amazon, it's hard. Okay. So then I come in here and I go, okay, Sony FX30 sold 11 of those in the last 30 days, made $1,000. Sigma, another brand, 16 millimeters, 61 of those in the last 30 days, $922. Sony ZV-E10 sold 22 of those in the last 30 days, $694. Now, Sony's not the company, but if I go through here and I go to the bottom here and I go results per page 100, here's what we ended up saying to this company. We said we have done, it actually was like over $1 million in sales for the company, which for us was like $40,000 because we get 4%, which is cool. But it actually led to like, I want to say a 6-figure brand deal. Now, let's take that all the way down to the small creator because this is relatable. You need to professionalize your YouTube channel. You need to analyze numbers. You need to own data. You need to be serious about actual results and tracking. Nothing bothers me more than social media managers and YouTube creators and YouTube coaches and social media coaches that just talk out of their butt. They don't have data-driven like facts to back up their thing. They're not tracking well, measuring well. People who just throw around theories and hypotheses, but they don't back it up. So think about how easy the negotiation comes when we're at the negotiation table and they're like, why should we work with you? And we're like, well, let me show you this screenshot. So we've sold $1 million for you already without you working with us. Trackable. This is how many camera units we've done. And here's what's interesting is they pretty much gave us the brand deal, not even based on future performance. They were like, we owe you money. That was kind of like, they were like, because we were just tracking and paying attention. So here's what I would say is professionalize your YouTube channel. Prove that how many clicks are going to the products you're recommending that you got for free. How many sales? And Amazon's thing could be messy, but you could figure it out. You go through and you might add it up and put it on an Excel spreadsheet. And if it's a different website, it might be easier. And if you could just go, hey, I did this video and this video and this video and this video, and we've done 100 units for you. If I had a little bit of money and we added some more creativity to this, what's the easiest way that I would believe you could do 100 more units for me? If you've already done 100 units for me. That's why the company it was a pretty easy negotiation. So, and I know I get saucy and we got to end here. I got a meeting, but dude, I freaking hate branding agencies and marketing agencies. Not all of them. Obviously, I got a lot of friends that are legends and stuff, but like social media coaches that like they're talking about like logos and fonts and colors and stuff. And I'm like, what about sales? What about the leads? Like what business result are we actually like, what about traffic? So let me encourage you. I just lost my mind here at the end of the whole stream that you need to become a professional. There's a good book called Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield. It's a whole mindset where you shift from being a dabbler and you start dominating, where you just go, okay, I got to own this. I got to learn my marketing terms, CAC, cost, customer acquisition cost, TAM, total addressable market, LTV, lifetime value. I got to become a professional. And if I want to really be in the creator economy, like I got to like understand the terms, become a master, like think about this stuff. And that's why I hope you're subscribed, because this is the level of game we're going to talk to you at. But the best way to convert from doing free product reviews to paid reviews is to crush it with your free product reviews, track your numbers, and understand other things that they may want. They may want to reuse your videos to run their own ads. So they care less about the units, more about the quality of creation. But talk to the brands, figure it out. Leverage what you're doing, do it as a professional, and then upsell it. Hey, we've been doing free stuff. Here's the results I've gotten you. Let's do some paid stuff. And I'll get you even more results because the cash injection will be jet fuel to that next level. Any aha moments today? Coffee with Cannell, let me know. What do you think about getting a little saucy at the end there? Respect to all the branding and marketing agencies out there. And there are many good ones, but there are too many people who like talk a big game in social and marketing. And like we talk about everything other than like tracking real data. You gotta love math if you're really going to be in business. And there's too many people who don't even bring up math, and it's a red flag. It's a huge red flag. Oh, we're going to do this creative campaign, and like if we're not tracking, it's kind of a direct response mindset. Oh, let's, not that you have the money to put up a billboard, like, oh, let's put up a billboard for your company. And, you know, if we get more awareness, like what? How are we tracking it? Like how, you know, what is the data behind that? How do we know if the campaign was effective? Toby's ready to leap from dabbler to dominator. We are taking things to the next level. Josiah says, just want to thank you for everything. I appreciate you. Hey, I'm sorry to hear about your dad. Oh, when you were battling lung cancer, you got some encouragement from our videos. Well, that's, I hope things are going better for you now. And thank you for sharing that message. And I'm grateful that our community in these videos are an encouragement to you. Appreciate you. We got to end, but yeah, if you don't understand YouTube numbers, make sure you're subscribed. Keep listening to the podcast every Tuesday and Thursday. And if you want to learn more about VRA, we actually have a free class. If you go to thinkmasterclass.com, so that's an hour long to get you started on some of the stuff we're talking about. And then at the end of that, you could hear about our paid program as well. But whether that's right for you or not at this time, definitely watch the free class. So your next move, if you want to learn better numbers, better strategies, and move from just dabbling on YouTube and to start dominating on YouTube, go to thinkmasterclass.com. Click the link in the description, and that'll get you to that free class. My name is Sean Cannell, rhymes with YouTube channel. And shout out to Caleb for co-hosting all of our guests today. 2 hours and 6 minutes on the Coffee with Cannell show. And thanks for being here. Can't wait to connect on a future episode. Until then, we'll talk soon.